Hello everyone, this is Randall Lim. Do you know Japanese spiritual disciplines? In this lesson, in this video lesson, I'd like to introduce to you the Japanese spiritual disciplines. Now, Japanese spiritual disciplines, they are basically a Japanese approach to spirituality and philosophy. It is embraced by both the ancient warriors as well as modern day devotees alike. Take a look at some of these photos here. Are you able to identify what spiritual discipline it is? Generally, those photos in the upper half are those of the Shinto faith, and those on the bottom half are those of the Buddhist faith. Japanese warriors, ancient warriors would practice them every day, would practice these spiritual disciplines every day, alongside combat, literature, and etiquette, as a way to simply have a peace of mind, to prepare for war and even in between battles. Today, Japanese devotees come from all walks of life. They can be farmers, businessmen, housewives, politicians, professionals, and even students. Take a look at these photos here. Are you able to identify whether what faith or what spiritual discipline they come from? The top half are mainly of Shinto, but the bottom half represents Buddhism. The major spiritual disciplines in Japan, two major ones. The biggest of them all is Shinto. As you can see, the kanji of Shinto, Shin and To. Shin simply means the gods or the deities, and To means the path or the ways. So Shinto is the way of the gods. The second spiritual discipline is called Buddhism or Bukkyo. The second biggest spiritual discipline in Japan is Buddhism or Bukkyo in Japanese. It simply means Buddha's doctrine or Buddha's action. Japanese Shinto. Japanese Shinto originated in Japan as early as the 300 BC or the Yayoi period. Basically, Shinto is simply the belief that all of Mother Nature, living or non-living, holds the spirits of deities or gods in each and every object. Therefore, all objects of nature must be respected. Japanese Shinto. These spirits of deities are able to bring good blessings or bad curses to people. If an object of nature is ignored or not respected, bad things will happen to the people who caused it. But if an object of nature is respected and acknowledged, good things will happen. Shinto practices and rituals are usually observed by the Japanese people only for happy and hopeful occasions, like weddings, child growth and development, bountiful harvest, and the coming of age ceremony, only for the happy and hopeful occasions. Visiting a Shinto shrine. A Shinto shrine refers to a premise or compound. A torii gate literally means bird being, indicates the end of the secular world and the beginning of the spiritual world. So it is a gate that separates the secular world and the spiritual world. When walking through this gate, always stop and give a standing bow before walking through on one side. Walk only through on one side, not in the middle, because the deity spirits should be walking in the middle. Within the Shinto shrine, before you visit the altar, first you need to purify yourself. Approach the water basin. Pick up a wooden ladle with your right hand first. Fill it with clean water from the flowing stream. Pour 1/4 of the water onto your left hand. Take over the ladle with your left hand. Pour another 1/4 onto your right hand. Take over the ladle again with your right hand. Pour another 1/4 onto your cupped left hand and wash your lips with your mouth closed. It's washing your lips, not your mouth. Let the last 1/4 of the water flow down the ladle's handle vertically. This is to wash the handle. Now, this is the cleansing process before visiting the altar. At the altar, at the shrine altar, first thing you do is to ring the altar bell. There would be a rope dangling vertically attached to the bell. You just need to shake the rope and the bell will ring. Okay, ringing the altar bell is simply to alert the deity that you have arrived at the altar. And place some money you wish to donate into the donation box right at the altar. Bow twice. Then clap twice. Now, clapping twice is to alert the deity of your wishes you are about to make. After clapping twice, bring your palms together and make your wishes silently. Once your wishes are done, bow once to thank the deity for listening. I'd like to click on this link to watch a simple demonstration. Leaving the shrine. Upon stepping out of the shrine, through one side of the torii gate, turn back and give a final bow. The other spiritual discipline of Japan is Buddhism. Basically, Buddhism, or Bokkyo in Japanese, is simply the belief that human life is about suffering and bad deeds. This suffering and bad deeds result in bad karma or goi, meaning that will be passed on into the person's next life, and the next life, and the next life. It is called reincarnation, accumulating bad karma until good karma outweighs it. Good karma can be accumulated through meditation, hard work, good deeds, until it outweighs the bad karma. This is when enlightenment is reached. Enlightenment simply means realizing the inner self, or when nirvana is reached. This is primarily the gist of Buddhism. Any person who has reached enlightenment or nirvana after trying over many lifetimes is given the title Buddha, or the enlightened one. The first ever recorded Buddha was an Indian prince known as Gautama Buddha over 2,500 years ago. Japanese Buddhism. Buddhism reached Japan in the 500s from China through Korea in the form of a gift from a Korean kingdom to the Japanese emperor. Over the centuries, more than 6 types of Japanese Buddhism developed. This lesson will only cover one of the 6 types of Japanese Buddhism, and that is Zen. Zen Bokyu, or Japanese Buddhism. While Zen Buddhism still believed in the suffering doctrine, bad deeds, and karma, its method to enlightenment is not ritualistic nor ceremonial, which the older Buddhism predecessors understood about the term good deeds. Zen Buddhism arrived in Japan through a Japanese Buddhist monk named Nyokan Eisai, who felt the kind of Buddhism in that the Japanese were practicing was too ritualistic, ceremonial, and even political in nature in the 1100s. So he traveled to China to rediscover what true Buddhism really was in China. In China, he discovered Chan Buddhism. Chan is the Chinese pronunciation of Zen. Zen Buddhism, or simply Zen for short, believes that enlightenment can only be reached through meditation and perhaps pondering upon philosophical riddles. There are 2 types of Chan or Zen Buddhism in China at that time. The first type, the Linzai Zen, and the second, the Soto Zen. The type of Chan or Zen meditation he discovered was the Rinzai Zen. In the 1200s, another Japanese Buddhist monk named Dogen felt that the Buddhism which the Japanese were still practicing was still too ritualistic, ceremonial, and even more political in nature. So he also traveled to China to rediscover what true Buddhism really was. He discovered another type of Chan or Zen Buddhism. he discovered Soto Zen Buddhism. Soto Zen Buddhism believes that enlightenment can only be reached through meditation and meditation only. Today, Zen is practiced all over the world, not so much as a form of Buddhist religion, but more as a philosophy or way of life. Zen philosophy is actually a mixture of Taoist and Buddhist philosophies. Zen philosophy is about believing that the individual is only a part of the wider universe. And just as the wider universe operates based on the fine interplaying balance between positive and negative forces, there's yin and yang. The individual needs to detach himself from his own thoughts and desires and let the balance of natural forces take over. That is Zen philosophy. Zen philosophy can be practiced through mindfulness activities like seated meditation, moving meditation, and or even doing your daily chores mindfully. So what is mindfulness? Mindfulness is about detachment from thought, letting thoughts come and letting thoughts go promptly. And detachment from desires, including enlightenment itself. Being in the present, being in the here and now, and being aware of your surroundings, but not thinking about them. That's mindfulness. Now, to update, there's actually a third common type of spiritual discipline in Japan. The three major spiritual disciplines: Shinto, as mentioned before, Buddhism, and surprisingly, Christianity or Kiritsuto Kyo. Christianity or Kiritsuto Kyo arrived in Japan in the 1500s through Portuguese and Spanish Catholics, through the missionary Francis Xavier. However, today only 1% of Japanese are Christians, comprising three main types: the Roman Catholics, the Protestants, and the Orthodox Christians. Now, so far, the word religion was never used in this lesson until now. In Japanese history, state religion had a very strong political control over the common people. The Japanese are not particularly religious people, but they do make religious occasions and ceremonies an integral part of their culture and lives. Example, weddings. Most weddings will be at shrines, and some weddings will be at churches, or sometimes even both. The 753, or what we call the Shichigo-san Festival, which is the child growth milestone festival, celebrating a child's growth on his 3rd birthday, his 5th birthday, and his 7th birthday. All these happy occasions are celebrated in, observed and commemorated at shrines, Shinto shrines, blissful harvest ceremonies at Shinto shrines, coming of age festivals when women turn 18 years old. That's called coming of age festival at shrines. And for the more gloomy and sad occasions like funerals, they will be at Buddhist temples. Now with this, I hope that you have understood more about the Japanese spiritual disciplines. They are not particularly religious people, but religious occasions and ceremonies have been made an integral part of their culture and lives. With this, I thank you.